30 days that changed everything. The dramatic events of April 1945 shook the world to its very foundations and shaped the course of history to the present day. This is World War II in 2. I'm Bradley Hart at the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. By April 1945, the Allies were advancing on every front. The Western Allies had crossed the Rhine River and were moving deeper into Germany. In the east, the Soviets had reached the outskirts of Berlin. And on the other side of the globe, American forces pressed forward toward the Japanese home islands. But the horrors of war were far from over. On April 1st, American forces landed on Okinawa. More than 12,000 Americans would lose their lives in 82 days of brutal fighting. The Japanese would lose more than 10 times that number, including more than 100,000 civilians. In Europe, American troops made a horrifying discovery on April 11th when soldiers from the Third Army reached the Buchenwald concentration camp. Radio broadcasts by war correspondents would soon vividly describe the horrors of the camp to the American public. And just a day later, the world was shocked by the death of U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. A train carrying the president traveled from Georgia to Washington, D.C. Thousands lined the tracks to pay respects to the man who had been president for more than 12 years. FDR was the only president many Americans serving in uniform could even remember. But the war did not stop for the death of a president. On April 16th, the Soviets launched their final offensive into Berlin. As Soviet soldiers approached his bunker on April 30th, Adolf Hitler himself, the man responsible for starting the war in Europe, took his own life. Hitler had outlived Roosevelt by a matter of weeks, but unlike the American president, few mourned the man responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of people. Germany would surrender days later, officially ending the war in Europe. But a world away, the Battle of Okinawa still raged, with no end in sight. And the new president, Harry S. Truman, had been briefed about a top-secret new weapon years in the making. Truman would soon be confronted with a decision that would change the course of world history.